everyone. Thanks for joining us in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'd like to introduce Kurt Sodergren with Bad Voodoo Daddy. Kurt, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm really good. It's a beautiful day here.
Oh, fantastic. It's a beautiful day here as well. Thank you for joining us. I know you're over on the West Coast, so appreciate you joining us here on the East Coast, and you'll be in Rhode Island here pretty soon. You're joining us for the Rhythm and Roots Festival in Charlestown, Rhode Island here in just a few short weeks, so we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, we are too.
Fantastic. So I want to talk just about a little bit about your career in music. The band has been together for over 20 years, really kind of revolutionizing jazz and swing music. Talk to me just a little bit about what it's been like for you.
Yeah, it's actually next year will be 25 years, and it started off really not. I didn't get here just playing because I loved it. But we just got so busy I had to quit my other job. So it was unexpected, but I've loved every minute. I met Scott back in the late 80s, and we started playing together as a duo, and we really clicked. And then we did a trio for a while, and then he said, I want to play swing. And this is right at the time that Nirvana's record was selling 11 million copies. And it took me by surprise. It's in my family. My grandpa played in big band his whole life, and I had a lot of great records growing up, but I never really thought about playing it because I like playing punk and rock, but I thought I'd give it a try, and it was great. It was really fun.
And you just have kind of stuck with it this whole way.
Yeah, it's been good to us. This kind of music is pretty universally liked, and so we never really had a problem getting gigs. We played our share of weddings and proms and private parties and clubs, and it just hasn't stopped.
I love that. You've played your fair share of weddings and proms.
I have a picture of us. It was one Christmas after a pretty wedding-heavy season, and everyone was about 2 or 3 pounds heavier in the face from all the cake and free food and all that stuff. It's pretty funny.
Oh, that's awesome. I think what's kind of cool about that is not only have you done that, but your music has been universally played at so many weddings and proms, right? And I think that's pretty neat. It's almost like your music has been enjoyed and loved and appreciated all over the world, right?
Yeah, it's a great feeling, and sometimes I'll meet a young drummer that says that they started playing the drums because of our band, and now he's going to college for music, and so it's very, very satisfying.
Oh, that's neat to be able to meet someone whom you have inspired. That has to be a pretty cool feeling. Let's talk a little bit about your fans, because I think, like you said, the music is pretty much universally appreciated. Talk to me just what it's like to see fans. I mean, you've had this career that's lasted for so long, so to be able to go to shows and to be able to see fans out there jiving away, dancing, whether it's swing dancing or whatever it is, what's it like to see fans?
Yeah, I have to admit, it feels really good to have a job where my position, at least my responsibility, is to make people happy and dance and come away having a really, really great time. You never know what someone's going to bring to the show, if they're having a good day or a bad day. And so if we can make people happy, that's all we can hope.
And I think your music really does do that. It speaks to people and makes people happy. Let's talk a little bit about your new album, Louie, Louie, Louie. Fantastic. I was listening to it today. The music really speaks to people. Tell us a little bit about your latest release.
Yeah, these are 3 very big influences for our band. Our band is influenced pretty heavily by traditional New Orleans jazz, but also by early rock and roll like Louis Jordan, and then some great just classic Vegas swing like Louis Prima. It was Scott's idea. He's got a lot of them, and he's got some really good ones. And everyone was down immediately when he said, "I want to do a tribute record. I want to call it Louie, Louie, Louie." And it really makes a lot of sense, especially for us and where we come from. And there are people out there that aren't familiar with one or maybe even all 3 of these artists. So anything we can do to bring this music to people that maybe not be familiar with it. But really, selfishly, I think we just did it because these songs are really, really fun to play.
I like I like the part about just being a little bit selfish. I think you have to be, right? Sometimes you just have to be selfish with your music every now and then.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the album right now. I think probably one of my favorite one is "Ain't Nobody Here But Us Chickens."
Yeah, that was probably one of the first songs as a band that we played by Louis Jordan, and that was because when we first started off, we had a small amount of original music and a small amount of cover music, and then Scott started booking weddings, and they said, "Can you play for 3 hours?" And he said, "For sure we could," but we had maybe 45 minutes of music. So we just dug into all our favorite songs, and of course that was one of them. And Callaway Boogie, we used to play that a lot too. So yeah, these songs we've kind of lived with and grown with, and they've taught us a lot too. Because I didn't have any really formal training in playing jazz or swing, and so this has been my college. I mean, I've taken a lot of private lessons since then, so I could really, do the jobs, the drums justice for these tunes. But yeah, this has been a great learning experience for all of us.
I think that's pretty interesting to be able to say it's been a learning experience for all of you, because I think your band has really started a movement. So a learning experience for you started a revolution for many people, wouldn't you say?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'd say that, but I think we have. I think we've influenced people, and in fact, our new lead trumpet player, Mitch Cooper, he's 25, and so he's as old as the band, and he has pictures of himself as a 10-year-old with Scott holding his trumpet.
That's cool.
And we're one of his favorite bands, and then we needed a lead trumpet player, and he auditioned, and then we found this stuff out later. But yeah, I think you're right, and it's a blessing, and I'm really, really happy that I get to do this for a living, and it's a lot of fun.
I think that's pretty neat, that you're still appreciative and thankful, and I think still have an impact on culture. Just being able to, I mean, people know the name, recognize this name, still love the music, love being able to get out and dance and put smile on people's faces, and touring and releasing albums, still so active and releasing music, and been doing it for 24 years now. How do you still have the energy?
Well, I eat well, and I do yoga, and I get enough sleep when I can, and I know how to nap on the road. Those are all lifesavers.
I like that. After having a career in music for this long, do you feel like you have any signs of slowing down, you or the band?
No, not at all. Right now I would say that right now is as much our salad days as it was back in '98. Everyone's having a really great time. We manage ourselves, and we have a pretty friendly touring schedule because we all have families. So it's nice to be home and be able to take my kids to school, and then maybe leave on a Wednesday or Thursday and be gone for the weekend and then come back. But that being said, starting in September, we're going to get serious again, and all the way through December. And I believe December our tour lasts from Thanksgiving all the way to the 23rd. So, so we do work for a living, that's for sure. But right now, things are pretty good.
I like that. Talk to me just a little bit about some of the musical influences that you have. You talked about the album and how that's been shaped and shifted, but talk to me a little bit about your influences. You were talking about how the band kind of formed, and the popular music at the time was grunge. I grew up in Seattle, and I remember Nirvana. I was big during my time, and you said you kind of come from that background where you were playing some punk music and some ska music, so this was a little bit different to you, and you've learned and grown. But talk to me a little bit about your musical influences.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like you, those bands were my favorite bands. I mean, Dave Grohl is an amazing drummer, and I was a big fan of X6 countless times, and DJ Bonebreak was one of the biggest influences on me. But back in 1976, my dad took me as an 11-year-old to see Kiss and Cheap Trick, and when I saw that show, that did it for me. I wanted to play music, and then of course my dad had a great record collection, a lot of Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix, so those drummers were on my radar. and since my grandpa played big band, I had a really worn record of Benny Goodman live at Carnegie Hall. So Gene Krupa, I heard him play. I saw pictures of him playing and the big smile he had in his face, and that was a really, really big thing for me. Just the joy that he had when he played. So I try and emulate that, and I try and bring as much joy as I can to playing music, because it really is a lot of fun to do. Like I said, I didn't have a lot of experience playing this kind of music when we first started, so I did start taking lessons, private lessons, and I talked to my teacher, and he assured me that it wouldn't be a problem. And so I work pretty hard, I practice a lot, and I still do, and the whole band does, and everyone's gotten really great at their job. Scott writes the music, and our piano player Josh is the arranger, and over the years his arrangements have gotten so subtle and so good, and the prowess of the members of the band still astounds me. So that's what I mean by learning experience. It's been kind of like a master's program in music, and it's just a lot of fun.
And continuing to learn and grow and shape and shift, that's a pretty neat, it's pretty neat to be able to, as a fan, to learn and grow and experience that along with you. So that's neat. You don't always get that opportunity as a fan with groups anymore either. So that's pretty neat.
Agreed. Yeah, for sure. And there are so many different styles that we could play in one night. So yeah, it's been a great learning experience, and it's just always a lot of fun to play. And Scott changes the set list every night. He'll show up and he'll kind of get a look out at the audience, and sometimes he won't have a set list for 15 minutes before showtime, which drives us you're crazy. So it's our job to know all the tunes, and the horn players, they all have charts if they need them. But for me and Scott, and you have to know all the tunes, and so yeah, it's hard work, but I don't really like saying that because it doesn't feel like hard work. It just is fun. I enjoy going into the practice room and spending a couple hours in there, and I think everyone in the band does. I don't think doing it this long didn't like it.
That's probably true. You wouldn't be doing it this long. And those changing set lists 15 minutes before show, that's probably where that yoga comes in, right? The deep yoga breaths, that probably comes in helpful at that point.
Deep breathing is underrated.
It definitely comes in handy then, I bet. I know it comes in handy for me every now and then. I'm curious. You said a lot of the bandmates have families. Are your any of them interested in music, coming along and learning the ropes?
Oh yeah, for sure. Scott's son is a very accomplished piano player and drummer, and in fact, he plays in a band with my son, who plays the bass and plays the synthesizer, and it's
cool.
I think that's interesting because Scott and I started playing together, and now our sons are playing together.
That's really neat.
But yeah, our trumpet player Glenn, his daughter plays piano, and Josh, our pianist, his son plays piano, and then his younger son is starting to play the drums. So as a present, I gave him a little tiny drum set. He's pretty young. So yeah, they all are interested in music. I don't know if they're interested in doing it as a career, but just to play is a great thing. I think everyone should play music, or at least try to. And if you really don't want to, at least go and see music and enjoy it, because it really is a life-changing thing.
I agree with that. I know there's a lot of people out there that are appreciative of your music as well, and that's pretty neat that your kids are playing in a band together. That's really cool.
Yeah, but half of them are playing the drums. What's going on?
They're like, Dad, nope.
Yeah.
You've got to try something else. I've heard enough. Oh, man. Well, I really appreciate the opportunity of you chatting with us. What can fans look forward to here when you come to Rhode Island for the Rhythm and Roots Festival in Charlestown?
I can pretty confidently say that we're going to do a retrospective of all of our music.
Cool.
And some selections, quite a few selections off our new record, Louie, Louie, Louie. So yeah, I think you're going to get a little of everything, which is good. The set we're doing right now that we've been doing a lot of is a great one, and it covers our whole career.
That's fantastic. Well, I really appreciate you joining us today. Kurt, I thank you so much for chatting with us here on Go Local Live, and I wish you the best this afternoon. I know you said it's a beautiful day, so hopefully you can get out and enjoy it.
I'm on my way right now, and thank you so much for the support. We really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to coming out.
Awesome. We'll look forward to seeing you. It's a great time. Charlestown's beautiful, so I know you will enjoy it.
Great, thank you.
All right, thanks a bunch, Kurt. Appreciate it.